himself and an entire nation out of the jars of death. As we gather here today, our staff in our hand is our skill. Perfect it. If you do not perfect your skill, you might not be able to survive the global competitiveness that is happening in the entire globe today, because Africa is not an island. Kenya is not an island. Where I come from, Cameroon is not an island. Neither is Malawi, is not an island. We are living in a global competitive space. And we must be able to be competitive regardless of where we are. And I'm saying this because I've listened to a lot of young people, and those young at heart, where they talk about Africa as if because we are Africans, that is enough. No, that's not how the world functions. And we must be able to work with one another, improve, refine, and adapt communication skills towards informing the development process in the context of the economic fundamentals we face in the continent. That takes me to my fourth point. We must become selfless. We are in a continent that do not promote selflessness, that do not promote kindness. We hate one another. We develop an attitude that I don't really understand it. This is not, I believe in the entire African continent today. When I was growing up in the northwestern part of Cameroon, as you will see in my book, I'm going to email it to Stella, she could share with all of you. I grew up in a northwestern part in a small village. And the village in which we grew up, we were not only the sons and daughters of my mother, we were the sons and daughters of everyone in the village. We could go right to the next house to be given food and even sleep over there. And still today, I see those I grew up with. They are my mothers, they are my daddies. But that attitude today of me alone is destroying this continent. The communication we are calling you to here today is unlike the norm, where sensationalization sells. If your communication is to drive the continent's development, then your focus should be to leave a legacy and not to sell news alone. And I will ask this question: do you want to be successful, or you want to leave a legacy? The jury is out. With these, just as capital flocks towards solution bearers, you will carve your own niche and attract capital to grow your brand of substantive development communication. And that takes me to the last point. Readers are leaders. You must read. If you cannot read to have the facts accurate, you cannot lead. If someone cannot read, he cannot lead. Readers are leaders. As communicators, you are essentially leaders, because what you communicate shapes opinion. What you communicate shapes opinion. You must not have a political position to be a leader. Leadership is about personal responsibility. You must not work in an office or have a position to be a leader. Leadership is not about position or about titles. It doesn't matter. Leadership is about personal responsibility. And that responsibility, the first person to lead is yourself. If you cannot lead yourself, then don't expect to lead anybody. That's the truth. If you cannot lead yourself, do not expect to lead anybody. But you cannot purport to lead if you have no grasp of the issues. Readers are leaders. If you do not have the grasp of the issues, don't discuss it. You asked me to come and talk to you people. I put my facts and figures. I put it in the context. I took time. If you don't read, you cannot lead. And if you don't, leadership is not about being the president of a country. You can inspire from anywhere, even without a position. Positions come and go, but you stay, and leaders do stay. I believe you are leaders because you can communicate. Readers are leaders. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and just as you get out there, always remember that leadership, as I said, is taking personal responsibility to become an example. Opinions doesn't matter. Opinions do not bring change. It's only your action that can change the world. Complaints will not do. But as you get out there, make sure that you align your communication efforts with reality. The way I've shared it today, and as you take this personal leadership, you will face naysayers who will tell you, how can you do that? You will not make money. Please tell them to go and make the money. Instead, continue doing what is right and inspire others. There is nothing as profound as inspiring other people to usher themselves to action, of encouraging somebody, of guiding and mentoring. Because we live in a continent where we do not like to mentor one another. We think only about ourselves. Ukoju. And complain about sericalis idea. When you raise sericalis idea, when you draw what are you doing as a citizen of this continent to change it and start doing something without complaining? If you take the amount of complaining that happens across the entire continent every day, Africa could, and turn it to positivity, Africa will become a tier 1 country. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, when I use the analogy of football players, 12 and 12, that's 24. In a stadium of about 60,000 people who are chanting and abusing players when they cannot even kick a football, telling them how to play. The players focus in playing the football. They focus in ensuring that they win. But at the end of the day, who wins? Who carries the trophy? Is it the spectators or the players? Answer, please. Is it the spectators or the players who win the trophy? Yes. Become a player. Thank you.